I discovered my girlfriend was using me to get close to my wealthy best friend and dump me for him. So I set a trap and exposed her publicly. I'm 28, male, living in a moderately sized city and working as a graphic designer at a local firm. I've got a close-knit circle of friends, but my best friend stands out. He's one of those rare success stories who hit it big early with a startup. Because of that, he's built significant wealth. We've known each other since high school, so the money's never mattered much to me, but I've noticed over the years how it can attract certain people. Unfortunately, that reality came crashing into my personal life not too long ago. I've been dating my girlfriend for around 8 months when I first saw signs of something off. She was fun, energetic, and always seemed interested in hearing about my day. But the moment she found out I had a rich best friend, her eyes lit up in a way that made me uneasy. She began pestering me with questions about him, how he earned so much, whether he was single, if he owned multiple properties. At first, I wrote it off as harmless curiosity. After all, it's not every day you meet someone who's become that successful so young. But over the next couple of months, her interest became more and more intense. She'd casually ask if we could hang out with him or visit his place more often. When he invited me to a get-together at his penthouse, my girlfriend practically begged to come along. She claimed it was just to see the view, but I felt something else lurking under her eagerness. One evening, while we were on my couch watching a movie, she leaned in and said, "By the way, is your best friend hosting any parties soon? It's been a while since we went to that amazing rooftop of his." The question seemed innocent, but it didn't sit right with me. Why the constant push? As time wore on, I began observing little red flags. She'd slip remarks like, "I can't believe he can just buy a brand new sports car without blinking," or "Do you think he'll let me borrow his vacation home sometime?" If I expressed any discomfort about her fixation, she'd feign annoyance, insisting she was just joking. But each joke felt more like fishing for opportunities. Then came the tipping point. Late one night, my phone buzzed with a message from my best friend. It read, "Your girlfriend just DM'd me on social media, asking if I wanted to hang out alone. Thought you should know." My heart sank. That was no joke. She hadn't even bothered to involve me in the plan. I thanked him for letting me know and decided that from now on, I'd keep my eyes wide open. The next morning, I confronted her gently about it, asking if she'd messaged him. She lied outright, saying, "No, why would I do that?" I didn't press further, but now I knew she was capable of more than just flirty remarks. She was actively seeking private access to him. I guessed her end goal might be to leave me for him if the opportunity arose. Rather than blow up or act rashly, I decided to bide my time. If she was truly using me just to get closer to him, I wanted ironclad proof. And once I had that proof, I intended to reveal her scheme in a way she couldn't wriggle out of. Part of me felt hurt. This was someone I'd built an emotional connection with, yet she seemed poised to betray me for a bigger bank account. But another part of me was determined to protect my best friend and myself from her manipulations. I started by casually playing along with her requests, orchestrating more group hangouts that included my best friend. She jumped at every chance, greeting him with bright enthusiasm whenever she saw him. I noticed her subtle tactics, like maneuvering to sit next to him, finding reasons to whisper in his ear about trivial stuff, or laughing a bit too hard at his jokes. My best friend, aware of my suspicions, humored her, but kept his distance. We wanted a clearer sense of her motivations. One evening, she pulled one of the more blatant stunts. She asked me to get more drinks from the store while we were all at my best friend's place. Initially, I thought she might just be too lazy to go herself, but as I left, I glanced back and saw her inch closer to him on the couch. My best friend texted me updates. She's asking about my relationship status, if I find her attractive, etc. My stomach twisted. It was one thing to suspect her interest in him, another to see her cross the line so boldly while I was literally running an errand. I decided then that I needed a big moment to expose her, a scenario where she couldn't spin lies or claim misunderstandings. My best friend suggested he play along further, dropping hints about his wealth, making it look like he was open to her advances. Meanwhile, I'd gathered direct evidence, like voice recordings or screenshots of her messages. We agreed it was risky, but we were fed up with her manipulative behavior. A couple of weeks later, the opportunity arose. My best friend planned a lavish birthday bash at an upscale lounge, complete with a VIP section. It was the perfect stage. Everyone would be dressed to impress, and she'd have plenty of opportunities to corner him. I arranged for a friend of mine, someone she didn't know well, to discreetly record any suspicious conversations. My best friend also prepared to keep screenshots of her messages if she sent anything incriminating that night. Sure enough, the night of the party, she dressed to kill, clearly more excited than I'd ever seen her about any event that involved me. Upon arriving, she barely acknowledged my presence, darting straight to my best friend with a bright smile. For the first half hour, she stuck to his side, ignoring most other guests, occasionally throwing me a dismissive wave if she saw me looking. At one point, I noticed them leaning close in a corner, talking intently. That was my cue. I stationed my friend with the recording device not too far away. My best friend had told me he'd mentioned some fabricated scenario, like taking a month-long trip to a luxury villa and wanting company. If she outright declared her willingness to ditch me and join him, we'd have our smoking gun. A few minutes later, my friend signaled that he had something. I tried to remain composed, mingling with other guests, but adrenaline pumped through me. After all the deceit and suspicion, the moment of truth was closing in. About 10 minutes later, my best friend approached, looking grim, confirming that she'd basically said she was bored with me and would love to be someone's queen in a bigger mansion. He shook his head in disgust. That was enough to confirm all my doubts. However, I wanted a final, public blow that would prevent her from denying or spinning the story once we confronted her. We decided to wait until she crossed one more line that night, which, given her behavior, seemed inevitable. Toward the end of the night, the lounge was still buzzing, lights flickering across the dance floor as a DJ played upbeat tracks. My girlfriend, almost forgetting my existence, remained glued to my best friend. He led her to a quieter balcony area where a handful of people were chatting. I kept a discreet distance. Sure enough, she began bragging to him about how she knew how to treat a man with wealth. She even tossed in a jab at me, complaining that I was too ordinary, hinting that she could do better. My friend signaled me, so I crept closer behind a half wall that divided the balcony from the main lounge. I listened, phone in hand, ready to record video. The conversation was nauseating. She brazenly confessed that she'd started dating me just to gain access to my best friend's social circle, particularly the wealthy side of it. She boasted that if she played her cards right, she could upgrade her lifestyle by being with him. My best friend feigned interest, prompting her to say more. She grinned and said, "He's sweet, but let's be honest, he's going nowhere fast. You, on the other hand, have everything I want." She then giggled as if this was all just a harmless game. At that point, I stepped out from behind the wall. Her face paled. My best friend turned to me, shaking his head in mock disappointment, playing his part. I calmly raised my phone, letting her see that I'd just recorded that entire exchange. Her eyes darted around, looking for an escape. The other guests on the balcony watched, confused, but no one moved. Everyone could sense something dramatic was unfolding. I lowered my phone and said, loud enough for the bystanders to hear, "Care to repeat how you were just using me for a direct line to my best friend's wealth?" She stammered, claiming it was all a misunderstanding, that she'd had too much to drink. But the truth was out there, crystal clear. She tried to reach for my arm, tears forming instantly. "You're overreacting." I was just joking. But my best friend cut in, "Really? Because you didn't sound like you were joking when you said you wanted to ditch him." A hush fell over the group. Some jaws dropped. Others pulled out their phones, anticipating more drama. Sensing the walls caving in, she lashed out, "You set me up? You're both cruel for tricking me like this." I shrugged, adrenaline making my heart pound. I had to be sure. "And now everyone sees who you truly are." She grew frantic, glancing at onlookers. With trembling hands, she tried to snatch my phone. "Delete that video. You have no right." I stepped back, refusing to hand it over. That's when her sense of entitlement morphed into rage. She screamed curses, insisting I'd regret humiliating her, that she'd sue me for defamation. A few people, including lounge security, approached to see what was happening. I calmly explained the situation, showing them the recorded conversation. Realizing she was outnumbered, she stormed off in tears. A wave of relief washed over me. The public confrontation was harsh, but it was the only way to ensure she couldn't twist the narrative. People had heard her in her own words. My best friend patted my shoulder, sharing a sad smile. We confirmed her betrayal, but it still stung that it came to this. The guests who witnessed it buzzed with shock, but mostly sympathy for me. They saw firsthand how manipulative and entitled she was. In the days that followed, she tried every trick in the book. She texted me, claiming she was drunk and didn't mean any of it. She left voicemails sobbing about how I ruined her life, how she was misunderstood. When I wouldn't respond, she switched tactics, threatening legal action for recording her without consent. Thankfully, I consulted a legal-minded friend who pointed out that in a public place with multiple witnesses, she had no real grounds to sue. In many parts of the U.S., if you're in a group conversation in a public setting, the laws around recording can favor the person doing the filming, especially if it's not a private scenario. That knowledge gave me peace of mind. Meanwhile, my best friend also shut her out, ignoring her desperate attempts to contact him directly. She tried sweet-talking him, claiming I had orchestrated everything to sabotage her. But the video evidence was indisputable. Her own words had nailed her coffin shut. My best friend and I joked that if she tried to spin some wild story, we'd post the clip online. Truth be told, we never intended to publicly embarrass her beyond the lounge incident. That moment alone had done enough damage to her reputation. Word traveled through social circles fast, and she found herself ostracized by many who refused to condone her gold-digging schemes. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a twinge of hurt. After all, I'd been in a relationship with her for months, thinking there was genuine affection. But seeing how effortlessly she tried to leap from me to my best friend for his money clarified that there was no real love involved. She had used me, plain and simple. After a week or two of drama, her messages died down. I heard from mutual acquaintances that she moved on, apparently trying to latch onto someone else with a bigger wallet. Part of me pitied her. Another part felt an undeniable sense of justification that she faced consequences for her entitlement. Life returned to normal. My best friend and I grew even closer, bound by the bizarre ordeal. He joked that I deserved hazard pay for dealing with a self-declared social climber. We went back to chilling on weekends, hitting local bars, and discussing normal stuff, sports, random memes, not the drama of manipulative partners. In reflecting on it all, I don't regret the trap I set. Some might say it was extreme, but I wanted the truth so badly that I was willing to orchestrate a scene to get undeniable proof. And once I had it, I made sure she wouldn't spin it to her advantage. Yes, the confrontation was harsh, but it was the only way to protect myself and my best friend from her manipulations. She reaped the consequences of her actions, and I walked away with my dignity, if not a few